Hi, it's Christy Conradie, the creator of the Be Meaningful Journey and the host of this channel, Motherhood Made Simple. You may look at those words, Motherhood Made Simple, and say, there's nothing simple about motherhood. While that is true, right? Motherhood really is challenging. It's not challenging because we fail to love our children, right? It's not challenging because we put forth our best intentions. It's challenging because we don't have the skill set necessarily to deal with the changes our children bring into our lives every day, right? They are developing and changing. They have different needs than us, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, right? We can physically meet their needs, right? Cook for them, clean for them, get them to school, get them to activities, help with homework, cuddle with them, right? Be there for them, etc. But here's the but, right? We don't necessarily know how to mother and be there for our children in ways that bring out the best in them, in ways that attune with where they are versus us react where we are. So in this talk today, I really would like to give you some hope and some ways to look at your everyday life in new ways so that you can use what's already in your life to help you be who you want your children to become. I've said in many of my videos that what's challenging is that we don't have that ability to sort of model what we want our children to be doing or how we want them to behave, because we're over here busy, overwhelmed, so much to do, focused on getting everything done that we don't really know how to tune in to what we're needing day to day as moms. We are not nourishing ourselves. We haven't learned to bring out our own brilliance or our own magnificence, and yet we're trying to do that for our children. And that's where the clash or the mismatch happens. So, a couple of things to look at here. Where in your childhood were you taught how to be your best? Where in your experience of growing up did you learn what are the ingredients that make up you? And then how can you use those ingredients, right? Mix and match them, if you will, to meet the needs of your life's challenges, right? Where did you learn all that? If you're like me, you didn't learn that, right? You learned how to just go through the motions of life, how to do what everyone else was doing, how to dot your I's and cross your T's and mind your P's and Q's, if you will, right? How to people please, how to do what the teacher said, how not to make your mom and dad upset, right? These are all things that we as human beings learn how to do, but they don't necessarily help us be our best, right? They don't necessarily teach us life skills in order to negotiate life, have a backup plan, know how to emotionally regulate our own thoughts and feelings when they sort of erupting, right? I didn't learn this. Perhaps you didn't either. And today our world is what? Filled with so much more challenge than even what the world was like when I was growing up, in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Right now we're in 2022. Very different life challenges today. So, a couple things I want to presence. One is, if we want our children to love who they are, we need to love who we are. If we want our children to be equipped and prepared to deal with life on life's terms, we need to have the life skills that we can use to deal with life on life's terms, right? If we want our children to know their own inner beauty, strength, and value, their magnificence, if you will, we need to know our magnificence, our inner beauty. If we want our children to learn how to meet their own needs with ease, grace, and abundance, we, as moms, need to do that. First, we need to know how to meet our own needs with ease, grace, and abundance. That is what helps make motherhood simple, right? So often we try to learn a new technique or learn how to talk to our kids, right? Read a book, go see a counselor to help them help us help our child, right? And then we, in the moment, can't remember. What was I supposed to be doing? What did that book say to do? Right? And then everything goes out the window again. And we just go back to, oh, I'm never going to get this. This is too hard. It's too challenging. And then what do? We just sort of pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and say, okay, I can do this. I'll try better next time. Next time rolls around, same thing, right? Or a variation. And we're still left holding the bag. We're still feeling overwhelmed. And yet we still want to help our children navigate life, right? We are, in essence, creating a future, right? We are building a future for our children that hasn't happened yet. We are trying to equip our children with life skills for a future that we don't know what it's going to bring into their lives. Would you agree with me on that? Right? Besides all the things we're trying to do on a day-to-day basis, like get our kids to school, to activities, right? Do their homework, learn their ABCs, learn how to write a paper, apply to college, eat well, right? Have good friends, have a job if your kids are old enough, right? Or they're doing chores at your house, right? There's a lot of things we're doing that are building skills. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I bet you want to sit back and say, I feel at peace knowing I created the conditions for success with my children as they were growing up. I feel at peace because I gave my children life skills that they can use all the time to help them navigate their life's challenges. I, as a mom, feel at peace because I learned how to navigate and express my best self. All the things that I learned how to do that, I've taught my children how to do that as well. I know how to live in the present moment and be love, bring out the best in me. So do my children, right? Aren't these the things that in the back of your mind you hope, yet maybe you just don't know how to do? Because I get it. Life is already busy. You don't have time to add more to your to-do list. This is where I can help the most because I was that mom. I've said this in many videos. I was that mom that did not know how to create an environment for success, right? I didn't know how to create the conditions in which my kids could sort of flourish. What I was doing was creating a very tight, limited environment, if you wish, that just allowed them only to be a certain way, right? And it was stressful on me and it was stressful on the kids. And they didn't feel any kind of compassionate, loving embrace. They felt like they had to perform all the time. Not just from me, mind you, but from society, right? From school, from friends, from activities. It was always do, have, more, right? Next. So this new way, this be meaningful way that I created comes alongside you as a mom, right? I know you don't know where to start necessarily. You have a lot of great ideas, like I did, but the moment you start, you get sidetracked because life comes in, your child goes crazy, right? Has a breakdown, there's an urgent problem to fix, right? And so all of your best laid plans never get executed. That was me too, right? It wasn't for lack of wanting to learn new skills. It wasn't for lack of really time even. I just didn't know how to start and how once started, how to keep going, because it just, everything became so chaotic and overwhelming to keep going. So what I have done for you, which I did for myself, right? So I created what I'm going to share to you, share for you, right? Is a way to use your everyday to-dos, what you're already doing, in ways that will help you connect within, number one, bring forth your own wisdom and heart's desires, and teach your children how to do the same. Because ultimately, again, we want our children to be able to connect to who they are. We want our children to love who they are, right? They might not always like some of their decisions, and they will make some poor decisions. Just know that it's okay, right? We make poor decisions. Even today, I can make a bad decision, but I can consciously create a different way to handle that mistake, as opposed to feeling self-criticism or blame or shame. I can own it, change it, repair it, fix it, whatever, right? We want our children to do the same. So with the Be Meaningful journey, so I created what I call the treasure box, right? We all want to feel treasured and valued. Our children want to feel cherished, valued, special, right? They want to be seen, heard, and understood. We can help them. We can help them. So this treasure box is like a recipe box, if you will. And inside we have recipes. So I'm going to pull out my recipes just so you can see, right? They're getting started, prepping. Then we go into physical well-being. We go into emotional well-being. We go into spiritual well-being, and then mental well-being. These are four areas of our lives that we all need as human beings to be human. We all need skills to manage life on life's terms, turn lemons into lemonade, if you will, not overly react, and learn that our past cannot keep repeating itself, right? We have to learn to identify patterns of self-sabotage and patterns of unconsciousness that thwart our best intentions as moms to teach our children how to live lives they love. So I took our everyday to-dos and I turned them into meaningful to-dos. So for instance, with physical well-being, right? Physical well-being, I have 12 meaningful to-dos that work alongside you in your everyday life, everyday to-dos, and I teach you a life skill linked to that. Why? Because our brain, the way it works, our brains like to associate common everyday occurrences with new information. This is how we learn best as human beings. Physical well-being has a lot to do with everything that comes after that: emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, and mental well-being. If your physiology, right, isn't working well, your psychology will be off as well, right? Our physiology drives our psychology. So often we as moms are trying to fix, help, make better a situation with our child from a psychological standpoint, right? Or a personality difference, or we're frustrated because every day we're struggling with homework. Every day we're struggling with meals and eating, right? Every day we're dealing with some upset that happened at school or with a friend, or even you're overwhelmed. Your work is challenging. You don't have time to really tune in day to day, right? All these things are just kind of happening. And you're sitting there going, how do I deal with all these balls juggling? How am I going to, right? How am I just going to get through the day, let alone teach a life skill, let alone figure out what brings out the best in my child, right? I know that's a lot. So I've condensed all that, synthesized all that. You just have to follow the meaningful to do. Each meaningful to do links to an everyday to do. So showering, for instance, the essence of the showering card is to step out of the shower with your original shine restored. And what does that really mean? It means that you've learned to set boundaries in your life. So I'm using showering, taking a shower, with some words of wisdom linked to 5 or 6 different research and books that people have written talking about the wisdom of boundaries and having firm yet flexible boundaries so that you can move through life protected, meaning you're protecting your own space, as well as teaching your children how to protect their own space, not to let others' opinions and ideas impact them too much, right? Same with you. So each card has a meaningful message attached to it. Each card is something you can do every single day. And with time, you start to embody the essence of the message. When you start living with these meaningful messages, if you will, you naturally impart this wisdom to your children when needed, when they're erupting, when maybe their boundaries have not been very firm. Maybe they're too easygoing and let people push them around and they come home feeling bullied or depleted or exhausted, and you're not quite sure why. It could be a boundary issue, right? Now, this is just one life skill we need. I've created 46 life skills linked to meaningful to-dos for you. This is how I've tried to simplify motherhood, right? So that motherhood made simple is based off the Be Meaningful journey or the Be Meaningful card deck, right? To help you as a mom feel supported, help you feel equipped and prepared, help you learn life skills that you can use in your own life, and then impart that wisdom to your children. Because our children learn by osmosis, right? They are busy. Their mind is filled with noise and distraction and constant need of their attention, right? Not just with our everyday lives, but electronics, social media, friends. I mean, it's just like chaos inside their minds, right? If we could open up their minds, we just see like a buzzing computer, just lights flashing and so much going on. Our job as moms, which makes our job simpler, is to understand that when they come to us, that is going on. And if we got that going on, then we've got chaos meeting chaos, and it creates clash. But if you can recognize, okay, who do I need to be? What skills can I draw upon so that I can meet my child's overwhelm or my child's upset with a calm, centered, present moment self. Engage with them and attune with them at a level that they need, right? Don't make your children adapt to you and your needs. You have to learn how to meet your own needs, and then you can meet the needs of your child more simply. This is where the disconnect is happening, is that we're not meeting each other's needs at the moment or the time or the level our children need it. This is something I learned the hard way when I did not meet my children's needs, and I saw all kinds of behaviors happening, and I'm going, how is this happening? What is going on? Right? I'm thinking I'm being attentive. I'm thinking I'm doing all the right things, and yet I was clueless to the needs and the environment and the conditions needed, first within myself, to manage my own fears and my own worries about being a mom and living in today's modern world with modern technology and all of that upsetting stuff that enters into that kind of world, right? Once I could learn how to regulate myself, once I could learn how to meet my own needs, my children didn't have to meet my needs, right? And then I learned how to meet their needs by helping them meet their own needs, right? It's just a beautiful way to experience motherhood. I took every single lesson I learned over the past 20 years of being a mom, and I distilled it into these wisdom cards. And then I broke up all of those cards into those 4 main areas of life: physical well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, and mental well-being. And then I took the wisdom, the research, the books that went with each one of those cards and created an online program that actually walks you through card by card. It's just me speaking, kind of like I'm speaking here, but specifically to that card's wisdom, bringing in the research, helping you understand how you can use that card in many, many ways. Just like we have recipes to cook meals, right? Make a dessert, chocolate cake versus chocolate chip cookies, beef Wellington versus chicken cacciatore or whatever, right? There's ingredients in each of those recipes that you mix and match to create that dish, right? Same thing. In these cards, the wisdom, some of them are the same ingredients, but you mix and match them to create that life skill. And then I took that and I linked it to something you could do every day as a reminder. Oh, yes, I'm working on whatever it is you're working on, right? Because you see that item in your everyday life. You're doing something in your everyday life already. And I just linked it together to help you enjoy motherhood, right? To help you learn life skills easier, and then organized it in a way that you could do this journey one meaningful to-do at a time. I took away the, oh my God, I don't know where to start. I help you start. I took away the, okay, I started, but now where do I go? I gave you more where to go. I took away the, oh, I got sidetracked. I had to go handle this, or a relative got sick, or something happened and you just had to take yourself away from what you were learning, because you can stop and start this program at any time, right? You just pick up where you left off. You can also use these cards at random. You don't necessarily have to have a problem going on in your life to use these cards. These cards nourish you. These cards bring out the best in you. Who doesn't want to be their best day to day to day? Who doesn't want to learn how to live life with more ease and grace? Who doesn't want to learn how to experience oneself in an abundance of ways? This is really what we want to teach our children, right? We don't want to just teach them how to get an education and how to get a good job and get married and have kids, because we know along that path, things happen. Life interjects. Wrong decisions get made. People do things, right? Life happens. So we want to equip our children, help them feel prepared, give them a foundation that they can then build upon ongoingly. How do we do that best? By ourselves, doing it for ourselves. We as moms learn this. This is what I teach. And then we impart this wisdom in our own kind of meaningful ways, because we're different. You have different children than I do. You have a different life than I do. You have a different past than I do. It doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter, because in the end, it's how you bring forth the essence in your everyday life. And this is what I help you do in the online course. So if you want to find out more, and if you want to go on this Be Meaningful journey, there is a link that you can go to and read more about the Be Meaningful journey. You can also find out how you can purchase your own recipe box, right? With all of these meaningful to-dos in them. You can purchase it, and it has the online program that goes with it. So I want you to know motherhood is challenging. There's no quick fix. You will grow and develop. You will. In order for your children to grow and develop, you have to learn new ways to experience you. You have to know your own magnificence if you want to bring out your children's magnificence. These recipe cards help you do that. And they help give you a plan and a guide to walk you through it. And you can stop and start as you need to, right? I just want to come alongside you, right? I'm not asking you to change your whole entire life. No, too hard, right? This is motherhood made simple. I want to come alongside you, right? It's like a meaningful to-do coming alongside you. And then you're just infusing this into your everyday life. And then your everyday life becomes an expression of these meaningful to-dos. And you expand your ability to deal with life on life's terms with more joy and satisfaction and just feeling empowered to do so. Less guilt, less worry becomes your life experience. And ultimately, we want our children to flourish, right? We want to leave them a world better than what it is right now. The only way we can do that is to ourselves become the future vision that we want to see. If we can become that, our children can come alongside us and be their future vision of what they want to do in life with life skills. This is the whole point of being a mom, right? Ultimately, when it's all said and done, ask yourself, what do I most want to leave my children with in their childhood? We only get them for those 18, 20 years, right, when they're at home with us. And then they go out into the world. And you want to go out into the world knowing that they've got life skills, right? That they were seen, heard, and understood by you growing up. Not perfectly, not without conflicts, right? We are going to have conflicts. We are going to argue with our kids. We are going to be frustrated, right? The Be Meaningful journey does not take away life, right? No, it comes alongside you to help you deal with life. Understand, make it meaningful what's happening to you, because ultimately everything that happens to us is something we need to learn, That's why I have different lessons, and my life's problems are different than yours, because my soul needs to learn something different than your soul might, right? I might have to heal something in my past that you don't have to because it didn't happen to you. But we still are learning and growing and evolving and changing every day, right? We're not trying to be different people. We're trying to be more of who we are. Shed our conditioning. Shed that which does not serve us anymore. Shed ways of living that we adopted as children to survive our childhood or just society, whatever was going on at the time, right? We don't want to be just stuck with that limited amount of skills. It's like having 5 skills versus 46, right? When you have 46 ways to engage in life that meet our different needs, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, you can mix and match these all day long to experience your life in more wonderful, satisfying, meaningful ways. So that's what I have for us today. May you see that motherhood can be simplified. May you see that the Be Meaningful journey is really a journey within to connect to your own magnificence. Bring forth that magnificence, and then you parent, be a mom from that place of feeling supported, equipped, prepared, nourished, right? Then you can help your children do the same with time, right? Not all at once, right? We have our children for life. We can continue to impart this wisdom all the time, but we first have to learn it. If we can learn it, we can teach it. So I'm teaching you, and then you can teach your children. And together we can change how we live on this planet and help our children thrive earlier, right? Why wait till they're 50 and 60 to go, oh, now I get it. Now I know who I am and what life is all about. Let's help them experience who they are earlier. Let's help them want less in life, right? Let's help them want more experiences that bring out who they are so that they don't have to struggle as much, right? So thank you for listening today. May you have a meaningful day. And if you want, check out the link to connect more. I have many ways to connect with me in different ways, and you can check out my website, www.christyconradie.com, and there will be a link below this video as well. So thank you, and I wish you, really, I wish you all the joy motherhood can bring you so that you can impart that joy of life into your children and help them live with awe and wonder and not so much stress and struggle that life is bringing us right now, right? We can turn this around. We can tune within and tune out the noise and then just pick what we want to bring into our lives as opposed to feeling it all crushing down and in our lives so much. So with that, I will say goodbye. Bye.